work, I couldn't help but think about a conversation my wife had brought up during dinner the previous evening. It wasn't the first time we had discussed such topics, but lately, it seemed to be on her mind more frequently, and I was curious about why it had become so important to her. She encouraged me to recall how many women I had been involved with before we committed to each other exclusively. Additionally, she wanted to know if I still had any lingering fantasies about my past partners, or if I ever thought about them during our intimate moments. After 5 years of marriage, the simple answer was that my wife and I had built a relationship based on trust, respect, love, intimacy, and friendship, even though it wasn't perfect. I believed these elements were essential for any successful relationship, and I assumed Molly shared the same perspective. It felt like we were living a dream life: stable income, a strong marriage, a beautiful home, the means for vacations, and the enjoyment of fine dining, wines, and entertainment. I am William Harrison, but my friends call me Billy. My wife's name is Molly. During my childhood, I stayed in shape by playing football and hockey year-round and dedicating time to weightlifting. Nowadays, I maintain my fitness through running and actively participating in the adult soccer league, occasionally indulging in pond hockey. My beloved wife Molly, with her radiant eyes, flawless complexion, and lovely lips, possessed the ability to captivate anyone with her smile and engaging conversations on a wide range of topics. Her genuine interest in others made her an exceptional listener and an impartial advisor. Though her friendly demeanor might have seemed like flirting or casual behavior at times, it never bothered me because Molly knew how to keep conversations respectful and appropriate. In my eyes, Molly had a near-perfect character, with the only occasional annoyance being a minor flaw that occasionally led to emotional discussions between us. While these disagreements seldom escalated into full-blown arguments, Molly's unwavering determination, once she made up her mind, could make it challenging for me to change her perspective, especially in matters without clear scientific evidence. Both of us got married shortly after college, having exclusively dated during our final 2 years of university. It's safe to say that Molly didn't have much experience in choosing partners before our marriage. In contrast, I led a more adventurous life during high school and the first 2 years of college, exploring relationships with various women. By the age of 19, I considered myself fortunate. When Molly inquired about my ability to satisfy her, I openly acknowledged the influence of my previous experiences. This revelation made her feel envious, as she realized the missed opportunities and diverse encounters she had not had. I worked as a mechanical engineer at Abbott Labs, where I designed and tested injection molding components for medical devices. My latest hobby involves restoring a 2005 Winnebago B-Class van, while Molly excelled in her career as a CPA, holding a coveted position at a top accounting and consulting firm. Her job provided a stable income with manageable stress levels, occasionally involving business trips where she accompanied junior accountants during company audits. These trips ensured comprehensive coverage and adherence to the organization's principles of exceptional customer service and detailed reporting. In the past month, Molly embarked on several trips with a recent graduate named Andrew, who had started a 3-year journey to become a certified public accountant, CPA. This path involved qualifications and rigorous tests. After their initial trip, Molly briefly mentioned Andrew, but had not brought him up since. As our life progressed, I couldn't help but notice subtle changes in Molly's behavior and communication with me. She became less energetic, sociable, and open in our interactions. Additionally, Molly started coming home from work later than usual on multiple occasions in recent weeks. During a passionate moment, Molly ardently undressed me and led me to our bed. Throughout this intimate moment, I sensed an intensified desire in her. After making love, I went downstairs to cook, planning to address the issue when she joined me in the kitchen. When Molly eventually came downstairs and took her seat, I mustered the courage to broach the topic that needed discussion. Encouraging Molly to express her thoughts first, I reassured her of my unwavering love and trust. Molly responded playfully, which heightened my anxiety. She made light of the serious tone of our conversation, joking about how discussions that began with, "We need to talk," often signaled the end of a marriage. Dismissing my worry, Molly assured me that there was nothing negative. In fact, she believed what she had to share would bring joy to both of us. Struggling to articulate my thoughts, I continued expressing my concern about a shift in our relationship. Molly interrupted, referring to our recent intimate encounter and questioning why I felt that way. I clarified that it wasn't what I meant, but my anxiety persisted. Since Molly had brought up our passionate moment, I couldn't help but inquire about what had sparked such intense passion that she practically tore off my clothes. Molly's demeanor instantly changed, showing tension, concern, and guilt. She defensively suggested that if I wasn't satisfied with her strong attraction to me, maybe I should address the issue myself. Noticing this change, I questioned Molly about it, expressing my observations of her anxiety and guilt along with her defensive reaction. I urged her to acknowledge this and pleaded for honesty, asking her to tell me what was truly happening. I stressed the importance of honesty and clarity. Molly's tone softened as she apologized, explaining that she hadn't meant to react that way. She expressed the need to share what was going on, emphasizing her boundless love for me and the significance of our life together. Molly spoke sincerely during our conversation, her tone filled with confidence and tenderness. Expressing my heightened concern, I asked if she was cheating on me, fearing the worst. Molly, sounding offended but determined, denied any betrayal of trust or unfaithfulness. She reassured me of her respect for me and our relationship. Despite my concerns, Molly encouraged me to listen without making hasty judgments. She explained her intention to discuss something important and stressed the importance of having an open conversation. Molly reiterated her commitment to our relationship, expressing her desire to create a future together, have children, grow old as partners, and be with me for life. She prepared me for the challenge of comprehending what she was about to reveal, asking that I carefully listen and consider the full context. Molly clarified that she had been talking about Andrew, her colleague with whom she had gone on business trips. Alongside these trips, she had lunch, attended happy hours, and even had dinner with him last week. Molly flatly stated that she hadn't cheated or engaged in a romantic relationship. She acknowledged her actions, but insisted it wasn't cheating on me. I want to stress that I truly want you to hear me out, and I apologize if my previous statements seemed contradictory, Molly said. You're right. I crossed a line by spending time with Andrew without informing you. However, I want to assure you that I don't love him. We had a flirtation that initially seemed innocent but gradually became more questionable. Everything changed when he expressed his desire for a physical relationship. Despite being 7 years younger, incredibly fit, and very handsome, she continued, I needed him to understand that my feelings toward him were passionate, not love. In a fit of anger, I confronted him, asking if he was leaving me, if he loved him, or if they had already been intimate. He reassured me, saying that he wanted to emphasize once again that he hadn't been intimate with Andrew or anyone else, Molly explained. He clarified that this was part of the problem and asked me to listen. He stressed that he only loved me. Andrew is younger, and I could never develop romantic feelings for him. However, before I met you, I had limited experience. Sometimes I feel that I missed out on certain experiences that you had before we became a couple. The thought that this young man to whom I am undoubtedly attracted desires an intimate relationship with me troubles me, Molly continued. Andrew and I flirted at work today, which may partly explain why I came home with such a strong desire, longing for your love. She noticed my reaction as my pulse quickened and hurried to clarify. Billy, I didn't express that properly. I love you and our intimate relationship means more to me than anything else. But it was difficult for me to shake off Andrew's infatuation, and I made the difficult decision to act accordingly and engage in an intimate relationship with him as a one-time experience before we fully commit to building our future together. I shared my need to have one last experience of connecting with another man, believing that I deserved it, Molly admitted. She asked for understanding and permission, wanting to convey her sincerity and never wanting to cheat and respecting our relationship. She discussed it openly and sought my consent, while also making it clear that she had already made her decision about what to do next. Molly was taken aback by the anger in my eyes as I contemplated her words. In response, she bravely stated that her love was exclusively for me. She expressed her desire to spend her entire life married to me and grow old together, making it clear that what she felt for another man was not love. Struggling to come to terms with the situation, I emphasized that I understood her perspective, viewing it as a one-time opportunity to fulfill desires and gain experience. Nevertheless, I made it clear that I felt deeply hurt by her request, and the implication that my consent was a test of my love. I found it difficult to comprehend how agreeing to something beyond our commitments could repair or strengthen our relationship. As I rose from the table, a mix of resentment and anger reflected in my eyes. It was evident that Molly could sense the repercussions of her words. I hoped that in this moment, she would contemplate whether her actions could destroy our marriage and the bonds that held us together. I needed her to grasp the significance of her request and the potential consequences it held for our relationship. I acknowledged that, when she discovered my emotional connection with one of her colleagues, she felt betrayed. Conversations and walks that resembled intimacy could be seen as a form of infidelity. I recognized the pain and mistrust this had brought into our relationship. I attempted to convey that I hadn't engaged in physical intimacy with this man, admitting to a few exchanged kisses after happy hours, and acknowledging that it didn't excuse or justify my behavior. I understood the disbelief and resentment in his response, and sincerely apologized for the pain I had caused him. Despite always believing in his unwavering trust and loyalty, I admitted that learning about his actions shattered this belief. In response, I retorted bitterly, "Fine, Molly. Maybe I'll seek a meaningless romance of my own, and we'll see if you maintain that belief." With those words lingering, I abruptly stood, grabbed my keys, and headed for the door. Molly called out to me, her voice pleading, "Billy, please reconsider and come back. I understand that you may think this situation could lead to personal growth and allow you to provide even more love and attention in the future, but Molly, you're deluding yourself right now. I can't fathom how you expect me to accept your betrayal and just endure it while claiming to love me. The truth is, I'll never truly bridge this trust gap. If you continue this affair, it means the end of our relationship. Do you comprehend the gravity of this?" With those words hanging in the air, I made my way to my car, opting to put some distance between us. Molly called for me to return, pleading, "Billy, no, please come back." Anger and pain consumed my thoughts, and I could only gaze at her in disbelief before driving off into the night. It was an overwhelming moment of shock and confusion. Seeking solace, I stayed at the Hilton Hotel in a nearby suburb for the night. Trying to escape the turmoil, I spent too much time at the hotel bar, drowning my sorrows in alcohol. Eventually, I returned to my room and collapsed into bed, still reeling from the shock that Molly considered such a situation acceptable. Ignoring her calls and voicemails, I remained stunned and couldn't comprehend how she could profess her love for me while insisting on violating our marriage vows. I was well aware of Molly's stubbornness when she made up her mind, but this was not the time for it. I considered yielding and leaving everything as it was, but I feared that it would be a mistake that could destroy our marriage. I had to make her understand before the situation became irreversible. However, doubt began to creep in. Was it already too late? Even if I managed to convince her this time, how long before she would act behind my back again? This would undoubtedly shatter the remnants of trust, respect, and ultimately, our marriage. On the other hand, I understood that if I allowed her to proceed, I would never see her in the same light. As I weighed the options, doubt and fear clouded my thoughts. If I consented to her request, how long would it be before she felt compelled to seek comfort in another man's arms again? Would she resent me for letting someone else fulfill her desires and not demanding her loyalty solely to me? It became clear that there was no good choice, and a sense of impending doom hung over our relationship. Something inside me suggested that our path was already leading to a tragic ending. Finally, I reached a decision. My only glimmer of hope rested on convincing her to reconsider and attend counseling with me. Together, perhaps we could uncover the root cause of her desire for intimacy outside our marriage. With this choice in mind, I marked Wednesday on the calendar as the day to broach this topic and present my arguments. Feeling the heavy burden of pain and sadness, I decided to call in sick at work. As soon as I learned that Molly was away, I returned to our house and immersed myself in completing some unfinished work on the van. Engaging in physical labor provided temporary relief from the constant emotional turmoil. I successfully installed and connected the solar panel, ensured all electrical components were in working order, and refilled the water tanks. I knew that with one more day of work on assembling the body, the van would be ready